Hello and welcome to the Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Szamuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of the Gaggle, Peter Lavelle. So, Peter, even as we speak in Manhattan, New York, Donald Trump, the president-elect, the 47th president of the United States, is being sentenced by Judge Juan Merchan for the crime that, when we've talked about this before, we still don't quite know what it is, and we can't really describe it because it's so totally ridiculous and incomprehensible on its face. It's so phony. But nonetheless, he was found guilty by a Manhattan jury, big surprise, of 34 felony counts. 34. I mean, that's quite a whack. Um, and so the the sentencing, which Trump had tried to delay or actually cancel, but particularly as he's filed an appeal saying that the case had relied on evidence that was clearly entailed his official act as president, and the Supreme Court had ruled back in June that president is immune for his official act. So not only that, any case brought against the president, even if it's for its private acts, that uses evidence based on his official acts is null and void. So it's not just that, his official acts he's immune. He's immune for his private acts if they use evidence that's based on his official acts, and that's the point that Trump has made, and that's in the appeals courts. But the Trump people, they went to the Supreme Court in the kind of last minute and said that you have to stop this because the appeal is still pending about this case involving his official acts, and the Supreme Court 5-4 ruled against him. And I just want to read you out. It's a very, very short decision, and can I see it? Yep, here it is. Yes, so as I say, it's very short, and the argument that used by the Supreme Court justices is weird. The application for stay presented to Justice Sotomayor, because she's in charge of the New York, everything that pertains to New York. She's from New York, and by her referred to the court, is denied for inter alia the following reasons. First, the alleged evidentiary violations at President-elect Trump's state court trial can be addressed in the ordinary course on appeal, which is again strange. But he's going to be president, and then he's going to have to be worrying what's going on in the courts. And then he says, second, the burden that sentencing will impose on the president-elect's responsibilities is relatively insubstantial in light of the trial court's stated intent to impose a sentence of unconditional discharge after a brief virtual hearing. And then so Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh would grant the application, and the majority was joined by Roberts and, surprise, surprise, Amy Coney Barrett, who's Trump appointed her, but she's regularly votes against him. And of course, she ruled disastrously in that free speech First Amendment case, the Missouri case that we talked about a lot, which was an important case, and yet she just dismissed it. Oh, has no standing. But anyway, the argument is very bizarre. I mean, they're the ones who made this ruling just a few months ago about the immunity. I mean, so and then you say, well, let this go through the appellate. Well, if it's going through the appellate thing, then why can't you just stay it? Stay pending what the decisions of the appeals court will be based on their own ruling. So why allow the sentencing to go ahead if it's at the being decided on appeal? I mean, it's just absolutely nonsensical. Anyway, Trump responded with the truth. I appreciate the time and effort of the U.S. Supreme Court in trying to remedy the great injustice done to me by the highly conflicted acting justice who should not have been allowed to try the case. Every legal scholar stated unequivocally that this case should never have been brought. There was no case against me. In other words, I'm innocent of all the judges made up fake charges. This was nothing other than a weaponization of our justice system against a political opponent. It's called lawfare. Nothing like this has ever happened in the United States of America, and it should never be allowed to happen again. And then to this day, this highly political and corrupt judge has put a gag order on me, which takes away my First Amendment right to speak about about very important aspects of the case. For the sake and sanctity of the presidency, I will be appealing this case, and I'm confident justice will prevail. The pathetic dying remnants of the witch hunts against me will not distract us as we unite and make America great again. So that's his.
Well, I mean, George, I mean, legal issues aside, because neither one of us are lawyers, but this court has the consistency of we just don't want to get involved.
Yeah,
It's a trend now with
right,
this
right.
court, okay? They don't want to because I think they see this is the political realm and they don't really want it because there's only downside for them. Always only
Yes,
downside.
yes, that's right. But it's still a very strange thing for them to do because the case
I mean,
clearly.
I don't understand how did it all the way make it to them, and then they say, "But oh, but our underlings, the
That's right.
appellate."
In the lower
Okay.
courts, yeah, it'll go to the lower court so they can go through this, and then it's going to, wind its way if the lower courts rule against Trump. In other words, if they uphold the verdict, then it's going to go back to the Supreme Court. I mean, it's just this, that's going to take years, but surely they know, like, look, it's based on their own ruling just 6 months ago. I mean, so it's not like, oh, well, that was, just some Supreme Court decision from years and years ago. It's just from 6 months ago. It was their most important case of the last term. And therefore, the least they could have done, is not, I mean, no one was asking them to overturn the verdict. All they say, hey, just stay the sentencing. We can reschedule that after we've gone through this legal proceeding and deciding whether this case was a violation of your own ruling from last June. And they said, oh, no, just go ahead. And so you have basically a kind of a humiliation for a president. I mean, he's going to be president now in about 10 days' time, and he's going to have this judge reading the riot act. He's going to be, I mean, he's going to be by virtual link, but he's this judge, and he's going to have an audio. The judge just wants an audio there, which he hasn't had during this trial. He'll have an audio so that as he's reading the riot act to the man who's going to be president in 10 days, so the whole country is going to hear this judge telling what a terrible person this.
He's that kind of weird guy that was with the kind
Oh,
of cool.
that's a different one. I
That's
think
a different.
that's the Arthur Engeron,
There you
the one who kind of posed on his Facebook page, shirtless and everything. Not a pretty sight. So
Yeah, but I mean, it's so out of step. I mean, it's really interesting how much has changed. At least the sensibility of the times, how much it's changed since the election. Okay, I mean, Jack Smith, he threw in the towel. I mean, yeah, I'm off to do war crimes trials and stuff like that. Okay, everything is just kind of folded. I mean, with a whimper. I mean, it's you like CNN. Oh, by the way, the lawfare against Donald Trump. Well, never mind. Okay, but this is just kind of an outlier.
but that's the thing
Very
that
weird.
they have a kind of a life of their own, and you can't
Yeah.
really. It's like a monster. You want to just cut the head off, but you can't do it. They just continue to, even if you cut it off, it just continues crawling. Because you talk about Jack Smith, yes. Jack Smith said, "Okay, these cases are now moot because you can't bring the president of the United States to trial." Nonetheless, he's now going to be publishing the report, or at least he's submitted his reports about to the Justice Department. The Justice Department is going to release the reports, which is obviously manifestly unfair because essentially they're going to be thick volumes in which the prosecutor just gets to throw
Yeah.
out all his charges unchallenged. I mean, the whole
Unchallenged.
point of is a prosecutor should either be able to present it in court, and then the defendant has the right to challenge the evidence, or not. But you can't just simply dump it out there and everyone can just read it with glee, and CNN, MSNBC just retailing all these little details, because the defendant hasn't had a chance to challenge the witnesses, challenge the probity of the evidence or anything. So it's essentially, it's completely unfair.
Yeah. Yeah. Some habits die hard, George. Okay, but like I said, it's very much out of step with the times. And it's time for them to the for his enemies to have a post-mortem, and lick their wounds because it didn't work. Okay, and hopefully we won't have to be doing this anymore. But every time George and I have talked about this, I don't think I'm a stupid guy. George, I know, is a really smart guy. So collectively, all these cases, I cannot
No,
understand them. I
no,
just
no,
don't get it.
no,
Okay,
no.
and this is where we stand right now. This is just poor loser. These people are really, really poor losers. All right.
Yeah,
And,
I agree.
I mean, and particularly in light of all of the pardons, that Joe Biden is going,
Right,
he's just throwing them out like candy
right.
everywhere.
That's right.
Okay.
But what are really crimes? Because with all these,
Yeah, for real crimes.
exactly, these are all fake. I mean, hey, some prosecutors, kind of smart guys who've gone to law school, had sat down and see, how can we turn this into a crime? What do we need to do? What law can we invoke that Trump has supposedly violated and bring cases? Because we didn't even mention the one about when you mentioned Engeron, that ridiculous case where Trump was found guilty of fraud, even though you couldn't name anyone he had defrauded. You couldn't even name any a client of or any
Well, the alleged
lender
fraud,
or anyone who had any complaints against Trump.
the bank that was
The
allegedly
bank, yeah, Deutsche
defrauded,
Bank, yeah.
they wanted to do more
More
business.
business. Exactly. They wanted to do more business with the Trump organization. It's a big, it was a very nice, lucrative business for them. And even like the state of New York couldn't bring any, yes, hey, well, did he pay, underpay his taxes or something? Did he, was the state of New York harmed in any way? No, they couldn't even prove that. So they just had to find some statute and said, hey, according to this statute, he violated it. Therefore, he violated the law. So, but
You know, we shouldn't be misunderstood. I think malfeasance should be brought to trial and punished. Okay, just as long as it's a real crime and
real
you can
crime, yeah,
prove it.
yeah, right.
Okay,
But
all
that's
right.
that's
So
that's what you say when you claim fraud. Then you say, okay, well, who was defrauded? And then you point to somewhere. Well, there's a consumer fraud. The consumer was defrauded. He thought he was getting one thing. He didn't get that. He got something different. He was defrauded. But in this case, when you can't present anyone who was in any way defrauded, then something has gone wrong here. This is clearly a bogus charge.
what do you think the outcome? I mean, it's being done as we speak right now. What do you think is the ultimate outcome is going to be?
I think it's just going to give him a long, long lecture and a good talking to, and wag his finger, and so and we can't have this sort of thing from the likes of you, polluting our noble New York, where honest people thrive. So Trump has to sit there and listen to this this
You know what what
tirade.
what what Trump and his people, what lesson are they going to draw from all of this public spectacle? The last big anti-Trump spectacle that the left can play against him. It's just going to harden the resolve of his DOJ to clean up this stuff.
Right,
Okay, no more political prosecutions.
right,
Okay,
right,
against anyone. I don't Democrats. I don't care.
right,
The uniform. Stop weaponizing the system.
right.
Okay, and this is going to give them cannon fodder for it. See, you
Right.
know,
No, I think that's right. But that's in itself very interesting, because just talking about Jack Smith. Now, Jack Smith and Merrick Garland, they want to put out this report. Let's remember, they only have 10 days left. So that's why they're in a rush to get it out, because they know that, as the clock ticks away, there's going to be a new team taking over the Justice Department, and they will, of course, say, no, we're not putting out this report. So it's really quite outrageous that they're using this last few days to get this dirt and this mess out into the public, to try to smear Trump as much as possible, essentially going against the election. I mean, the election was in some ways about the lawfare. I mean, that was, Trump talked about it incessantly, that he's being unfairly targeted. The voters rendered their verdict. I mean, they said, yeah, we're not impressed by the cases you brought against him. And now you're still trying to get this out there.
Well, the good news is potentially 10 days from now, if Kash Patel, which I still think it's problematic, but I'd love to be proven wrong, that he'll eventually become head of the FBI. But what George and I want from this administration, among other things, is the origins of Russiagate.
That's very
Okay,
important.
I'm not giving up on that.
That's
Yeah, I
crucial.
will not give up on that, particularly since the FOIA request that Aaron Mate got back, I guess, about a week ago,
Yeah.
all redacted. Why?
Yes.
Why?
All of those documents, they have to be absolutely, yeah. I mean, why this whole thing about redacted? It's so abused. Why should people be protected? I mean, if they did something that was manifestly wrong and they're public
Officially,
servants,
in an official government position,
right? Yeah.
why does it have to be redacted?
Exactly. I mean, so, well, we mustn't, this person. Well, this person clearly did something absolutely outrageous. We should know what Comey and the Comey gang and McCabe and all the rest of that what they were doing. Absolutely, it should be out there. Why should they enjoy protection? They didn't protect anyone during their watch, so why should they get to enjoy this protection? Well, their names are redacted. And yeah, I mean, what that Aaron Mate was clear. The FBI had opened a criminal investigation into the president of the United States,
A sitting president of
sitting
the
president of the United States, on the basis of nothing, on the basis that he was somehow, had been a tool of the Kremlin, and they opened a criminal investigation. Yeah, all of that needs to be brought out.
and Trump, you have to do this. Okay, you
Right.
have to do this because then it's going to happen again. It'll happen again to you in the next administration if they don't stop this.
Exactly.
All right, everyone. I'm looking forward to. You said it's only going to be audio,
It's going to
so
be audio. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to have to imagine a bony finger wagging.
Exactly.
All right. Hopefully, this is the last of the lawfare. Graciously, I hope we don't have to talk about this anymore. Okay.
Right.
Something I never understood. Anyway, this is the Gaggle with Peter and George. We're on Locals, so please go to gagglelive.locals.com. This is Friday. Sunday, we convene, and then we have a live stream on Monday.
Exactly. Live stream, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Monday. Please join us. Come with questions, comments. And then on Tuesday, I do my solo at 3 p.m. Eastern time. But in the meantime, we have to think about these savage hounds who are, when they get the bit between their teeth, they get quite irate. So if you have a few bob in your pocket, behind the sofa cushion, under the sofa, please whip them out, dunk them into the tip jar. We're very grateful for all of your help, friendship, and support. The more you're able to donate, the more of these videos we can make, the more of these we can improve on the technology.
This is what
And above all, look, I mean, look
all during our podcast. That's
look at how agitated they're getting. So, we got to calm them down a little bit. So, anything you can do will be most appreciated. So remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye-bye.